Hello guys, and welcome back to another Jensen Media video. And today we are going to take a look at the newest Death Stranding trailer. Now if you don't know what Death Stranding is, it's Hideo Kojima's latest game in the industry, and his first outing without Konami along his side. And it also has Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen on it as well. The first trailer for this game, which we seen a while ago, looked really bizarre, with Norman Reedus hooked up to a baby and whales just flying in the sky. It looked really insane, and this one looks no different. So let's go ahead and jump into this trailer and see what we can find out. So we start off looking at the ground and we see all these dead crabs. It's hard telling, but it looks like these crabs might be hooked up to something. There are these thin strands thrown about, and it gives off this weird vibe just like the first trailer. Then we come to this baby doll which is stuck in the mud. It looks really creepy, and it's just kind of thrown about and forgotten. So then we see this guy who is treading around in the mud, and it really looks like he has some sort of place to go. And it looks like this guy is holding on to something pretty significant. Then it pans up to see a war-torn world with planes flying around overhead. Take note that if I slow down the trailer, you can clearly see that the planes also have these weird little black strands attached to them. I don't really know the significance or meaning behind this, but there is definitely some significance in the game. We also see this rainbow in the background as well. I'm also not sure what the meaning behind that is. So then the guy turns around and it's clearly Del Toro. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be him, but I think it's intentional. And then we can see something in his hands. It's still not too clear what it is yet, but if I do pause it, you can see this pendant that is on his jacket that says Bridges on it. Maybe it's some sort of organization attached to him? Upon closer inspection, it looks like it has the United States on it with a spiderweb pattern throughout. Maybe it's some sort of meaning that everything's connected somehow, in some sort of web. The guy looks very concerned about the planes, and he moves towards this underground bridge area. If we pause it as he looks back, there is some sort of weird blue device loop thingy hanging down, and I think it's attached to his hand, but I'm not really sure. It looks quite high-tech and certainly out of place where he is now. It then pans up once again to see the planes flying high overhead with the rainbow and smoke-filled sky. You can suddenly hear the chitter-chatter of the radio sound, which I assume is just radio banter between whichever faction or army that has taken over. Then we see this tank. And boy does this tank look weird. Upon pausing, you can see that it looks like the tank has some sort of exposed guts or organs. I can't really tell what's going on with it, but it's definitely bizarre in appearance. It kind of feels like what if a tank crossed paths with a Silent Hill game. Upon moving farther into it, we can see some kind of organ just horrifically fall off the tank, and we can also see the skeleton hand that just is kind of hanging out on the side of the tank. So I assume the tank isn't some kind of weird monster tank that's alive. It's more like it has all these guts and stuff over it, along with some human remains, which I'm not really sure again what the significance is of this, but it's really gruesome and gory, and I kinda like it. Going a little bit farther into the scene, the tank looks like it has some kind of carcass on top, complete with exposed rib cage. It looks really gruesome, and I'm sure there's some sort of horrific story behind it that goes along with this. Then we get the glimpse of soldiers. They look relatively normal compared to the death tank going on. Also, as a note, there are more planes now within the sky. Also, the tank does also have this weird black cord attached to it, much like the planes did. Suddenly, a liquid starts going down the black wall of the bridge, which I assume is something seeping from the tank. If we pause the scene again, we can see this weird device. It almost looks like a pump or some kind of bomb. We also get a better look at the weird blue loop device, which we still have no clue what it possibly could be. Again, it looks very otherworldly, and not a part of the current world it's in. Then the water starts to rise, and the guy looks more nuisanced than concerned. He attaches this weird cord to the device that he has, and I can't really read what's on the cord, but it looks like it's some kind of caution or warning. Upon drawing closer to the device, I can read the writing on the device that says "Ensure lock is tight," so it's definitely something important. As we move a little bit farther, we can see it definitely is something important. It's a baby. Why is there a baby? The baby has its umbilical cord, and it looks to be attached to this weird seal thing. I assume this device is sort of like its womb. The camera starts to pan down, and then you get a good look at the blue device thing. It looks like it could be some sort of handcuffs or restraints perhaps. I'm not honestly too sure, but that's my best guess. Then we see the same weird creepy broken baby doll from earlier. This time though, it looks like it's slowly getting dragged away by the black weird cord thing attached to its leg. Bye bye baby doll. Now we can clearly see the blue device thing that looks clearly attached to his wrist. So it definitely does look like some high-tech pair of handcuffs. He looks very worried at this point, like he knows something is about to happen. Probably not his first rodeo. Maybe something is attached to those cords that has him worried. Maybe something is coming for him. I don't really know. Then it seems like him and this baby and the device sync up in some weird kind of way. Maybe that cord that he attached to the baby is also attached to him. Kind of in the same way that Norman Reedus was attached to the baby in the first trailer. So the camera zooms out and we can see all these soldiers on the bridge traveling across, following the gore tank. Then we see the baby doll getting dragged more and more towards something. Then it starts to glow red, and this sort of strange music starts playing that kind of reminds me of Stranger Things, which I dig a lot. The camera then travels more into this tunnel system under the city, which appears to be soldiers in the distant darkness, and they are also glowing red. Maybe whatever is attached to them is activating them or something similar to that. Then we get a better look at the soldiers. To me they look dead or infected or something. The guy to the middle left looks like he completely has no flesh on his face, and just has an exposed skull. Could be a mask, but something tells me these guys are dead. I can see the flesh on the middle guy, but his face looks like it's possibly scarred, and his clothes look like they're covered in blood or some black stuff. Upon getting more into the scene, the camera zooms in. It definitely looks like some kind of black substance all over him, and it's also coming from his eyes. This guy seems very different than the rest of these soldiers. He's probably a leader of some sort, and he might be even controlling these guys. Maybe the black substance is even infecting him and making him a bad guy. Then the guy lifts up his goggles and the whole helmet just suddenly disappears from existence, which is a little bit confusing to say the least. He sort of gives this hush signal off with his finger, and you can clearly see the black stuff on his face. It looks like some kind of infection maybe. Maybe he is what is controlling everything else. It's really not a clear picture being painted here. So then we see him give the soldiers the go-ahead, and they start off towards the character with the baby. Then they all seem to catch on fire or something. We can see the cords disconnecting from them, and clearly see that this guy in the middle is definitely controlling all of them. So I see him possibly being one of the main bad guys, especially with him being portrayed by Mads Mikkelsen. He would definitely play a good villain. Then we see the baby doll at his feet with its creepy eyes slowly opening. You can see that the doll has been stapled shut, as if closing off some imaginary umbilical cord. And then the guy doesn't have any of the black stuff on him anymore. He looks very cleaned up and definitely has that evil villain sort of feel to him. Then it all cuts to the title. Now there isn't really any clear or concise information that this trailer gives off. It definitely has a lot more substance going for it than the first trailer, but it's very confusing to put together. It's just kind of a mess, and it's hard grasping at all the things that could be. The city is definitely post-apocalyptic, so I have my own theory on what could possibly be going on. And I could be very wrong, and I'm certainly not trying to say these are any kind of facts about the trailer. I'm just speculating and throwing things out of my own opinion. For one, I feel the game has a time travel or parallel dimension sort of tone to it. Look at Del Toro's character. The baby womb device and the blue tech around his wrist is obviously tech from a different time or place. We need to look no farther than the rainbow within the sky in the beginning of the trailer. I think that it draws some sort of significance to either a time where the world was at peace or an alternate parallel dimension that is just out of reach of this realm. And maybe the rainbow represents the remnants of peace in that dimension in some kind of way. I think the black strands being attached to almost everything shows off this evil group of people perhaps controlling the world. Maybe controlling the military and the government, and they pretty much are playing puppet masters and taking over the world, having their hand in the cookie jar of almost every powerful military and organization in the world. They have dominated and devastated everything. I think the character that is portrayed by Del Toro is part of some organization known as Bridges. I think Bridges exists in multiple dimensions or multiple places in time. maybe they are some sort of high-tech time police, or dimension jumpers that are trying to restore things that are happening in this current world that the character has found himself in. The baby, I feel, could possibly be a younger version of the Del Toro character. This supports the theory of time travel. Maybe the baby is the key to the time travel. They somehow have to sync with their past selves in order to get back to that time, and yes, I know it's a big stretch, but it's just the first possible theory I could come up with after looking at this bizarre trailer. I'm just trying to make sense of it. Also, I feel why Norman Reedus in the first trailer was so emotional. Maybe it was the overwhelming state of mind of having to be attached to his past self. I don't really know. Again, it's a big stretch. I'm just trying to make sense out of everything we have seen so far. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other fan theories out there, and sooner or later we're going to get confirmation on what is actually going on. The last thing that I noticed was that Del Toro's name was not found anywhere on the title screen, even though he's obviously very involved with the game and directing it as well, so it's a little bit odd. But we all know he's involved, so maybe it's just an overlook. Hideo Kojima is pretty much known for his bizarre ways, but the trailers we have seen so far for this game are really far out there. I just hope that I helped make sense of this trailer just a little bit, and maybe I'm making some sense. But I just have a feeling whatever he's gonna bring out, it's in good hands. Even though I don't know what the hell this game is all about, and I'm pretty sure at this point, everybody watching these trailers has no idea either. But I just have a good feeling about it. It already looks like it's gonna be a really unique tale, and probably very strange, but good. So that's it guys, that's my take on the trailer. I seen it, I wanted to talk about it, so that's it guys. Thanks for watching this video. If you like these videos, please subscribe, like, and comment. That's what lets me know I'm doing a good job guys. So thanks for watching and taking the time out of your day to watch me. You guys have a good day and a good night.